Hey, welcome to Bold Women Lawyers Spotlight. Glad to have you here today. I'm Sharon Christie, founder and CEO of Bold Women Lawyers, and I am a lawyer myself. I've been a lawyer for many, many years, and now I'm a business strategist and business coach for lawyers in solo and small law firms. As a lawyer, I was a partner in a small med mal and PI firm for about 15 years. And then after that, I had my own solo practice doing all disability work for 16 years. I was able to merge that practice with another disability firm and become of counsel to that firm. And that allowed me then to launch Bold Women Lawyers so that I could help lawyers who are in solo and small firms avoid all the mistakes that I made as you establish and grow your business. I'm here twice a week, sometimes with a guest, sometimes just with me. But I talk about all things having to do with running a successful solo and small law firm. Today's topic, the title is, should you be the COO of your own law firm? And I'm certainly going to talk about that role, but I'm also going to talk about the other roles that you are tempted to take on, particularly as a solo practitioner. And we're going to talk about why you really don't want to do that. So let's look at the roles that you have, the hats that you wear, particularly in a solo practice. You're the lawyer, you're the CEO, you're the COO, you're the CMO, you're every C level you can think of, and you do a whole lot of other things. My grandmother used to say, you're the chief cook and bottle washer. You're doing it all. And I understand that because when I first started, it was me and a part-time paralegal. I wasn't doing it all, but I was doing an awful lot of things that had nothing to do with the practice of law. And so what happens when you take on all these roles and you never give them up? What happens is chaos. And that's obvious that that's going to happen because one person, whether you're practicing law, accounting, whatever your business might be, one person can't do it all effectively. So I understand certainly in the beginning, you are handling a lot of these roles, but you need to understand that is not a long-term plan for success. You will certainly play a part in all of these roles as time moves on, but you should not be all of these roles. So I want to go through them one by one and talk a little bit about, what are your alternatives? Let's start with the lawyer. Now, obviously, that one's easy. That's the easy role for you to fill. You are the lawyer. You are the person providing legal services to your clients. But where most lawyers get tripped up in a solo and a small firm is that you start doing lots of tasks related to your engagement or cases that do not require legal training. But it's easier, you think, for you to do it, or I can't afford to hire some help. But what happens is this: when you are consistently doing the tasks that don't require legal training, from a business perspective, you're losing money. So here's how I want you to think about it. And I'm going to make some assumptions here. I'm just making up some numbers. But let's assume that your time as a lawyer is worth $250 per hour. And let's assume that you are doing the legal work, but you are also doing a lot of tasks that a paralegal can do, and a paralegal would cost you $50 an hour. Now think about it. For every hour that you spend doing those paralegal tasks, you're losing $200 an hour. Your time is much better spent bringing in new clients, new cases, new engagements, where you're going to get paid your hourly fee for the work that you do, and you're going to get paid for the work that your paralegal does. and you're not going to be losing money, because the work that only you can do, of course, has a higher value than the work that someone who doesn't have to have a law degree can do. So it's a matter of dollars and cents from a business point of view. Now, lots of lawyers that I work with say, but wait a minute. You have to understand, Sharon, I don't have the money right now to hire a paralegal. But when we break it down, they're thinking of it in terms of, I don't have the money today to pay the yearly salary that a paralegal is going to cost me. But remember, you don't pay that salary all at once in a lump sum. You pay it over the course of a year. And if again, I'm going to throw out some numbers, but you're not paying it today. And so if your time is now freed up and you're able to bring in more cases, right? More clients, get more work. Okay. And let's say your average case has a value of $5,000. And let's just say you freed up enough time to get one more case a month. Well, one more case a month, $5,000 over 12 months has more than paid for the paralegal, right? That's how you need to think about it. You have to think about it strategically. So remember, you as the lawyer absolutely need to be doing the work that requires a law degree, but you should not be doing the work that doesn't require a law degree. You want to get help for that. So that's your first role as the lawyer. Your next role is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of your law firm. What does that really mean? Well, you're the person who's going to define the purpose of your law firm, the vision that you have for what you want the law firm to be, the clients that you're going to serve. That's up to you to make those decisions. You will also decide what the culture of your law firm will be. And you certainly want to keep that position as a primary role, but you want input. You want input from your team. You want help when you need it. So remember, your law firm can be exactly what you want it to be if you as the CEO develop the vision and set the course and take steps to implement it. So what do I mean by that? Well, look, what's your specialty area? What's your niche? And I say niche, not niche, but bear with me on that. What's your niche? Do the work that lights you up. Do the work that you enjoy. If you love litigation, then be a litigator. If you love drafting documents, then maybe you want to be a business lawyer. But you want to do the work that feeds your soul, right? Because otherwise it's drudgery. You want to do the work that you're excited to do, at least most days. It's not going to be every day. There are days where you're just dragging, or you have cases that are difficult or clients that are difficult. And, you might be not so terribly excited that particular day to go do your work. But most of the time you are. That's going to make your life much easier. You are going to make the decisions about where's everybody going to work. Are you going to be remote, in office, some kind of hybrid? That's what you want to just decide and set those rules, but do it with input from your team. And if you don't have a team when you start, as you develop your team, make sure you get the input. You set your schedule as a CEO. Now, I understand that if you're a litigator, you don't have 100% control over that. But there are definitely parts of your schedule that you can control. So, and if you're in other specialty areas, you can control this. If you only want to work 4 days a week, you can certainly do that. You can set aside a day where you're not going to schedule client meetings, or you're not going to schedule depositions. There's certain things you're not going to schedule. And if you only want to work 4 days a week, you can. Now, on the flip side, you have to figure out, in order to generate the revenue that you need and you want, how many cases do you need? How many clients do you need? What's the value of their case need to be, etc. But you have the power to control that. You also, as a CEO, you're going to develop the culture. What values does your business have? Excellence, diligence, cooperation. How do you want your team to interact with you and with clients? Is it formal? That might be what you want. Casual, more open. That's going to be up to you. That's a role that you play. But again, you don't have to do it all by yourself. And as you get more team members on board, get their input and you can certainly get their help. Now let's talk about the COO position, right? Chief Operating Officer. That's a person in bigger companies that's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the business. Okay, it's usually the second in command. If you're a solo practitioner, you feel like you're first, second, and third in command, but you're responsible for day-to-day operations. As a solo practitioner or a small firm practitioner, I can tell you this: don't do it alone. You will end up spending all your time on those day-to-day operations and have very little time left to do your legal work. So let's talk about some of the operations where you can get some help. Finances and billing, obviously, are key components to your business's success. You need revenue. And lawyers generally hate billing, hate the financial aspects, okay? And I've done a whole talk about that and sort of putting your head in the sand and not looking at the finances. But we're not going to get into that today. What I want to talk about is, how do you get help to make sure that this gets done? Well, get a bookkeeper, get great billing software, have an accountant do the taxes. Now, none of that has to be hugely expensive. For example, I didn't need, in my business, I certainly didn't need an accountant that I spoke to every week about where the finances were. I did need a bookkeeper who kept the books straight for me, who inputted the revenue, inputted the expenses. I sat down and reviewed it with her every week. She was an independent contractor, averaged maybe 4 hours a week. Okay, you can do it all remotely. I would know, where we were as of the day we spoke, what's coming in, what's projected to come in, what are the expenses that we have, and then we'd look at the monthly reports and the quarterly reports, etc. But she made sure the books were in order so that when it came tax time, all she had to do was hit a button and it got sent to the accountant. It was very smooth, very easy operation. I had a contingent fee based practice, so we weren't billing on a monthly basis. But if you are, you can get your bookkeeper to help you with that. Get those bills out. Obviously, you're going to want to review them, but make sure that you schedule that time to do it and you get it done. Honor your time commitment for your bills, because that's where your revenue comes from. And that's going to save you a lot of gray hairs if you are doing it regularly. You make sure that you have someone who can assist you to get those bills out regularly, and then do a follow-up. And you decide how much time do you give clients to pay the bill. If it's not paid, have someone do the follow-up for you. I know we lawyers hate that, but it's just a matter of a phone call. Did you get the bill? We're just checking. Or an email. Okay. However you decide you want to do it, but make sure the follow-up is there so that you can minimize the amount of write-offs that you ultimately need to have. As the COO, you're going to decide when to hire and fire. And I know you've heard this advice: hire slowly and fire fast. And it's definitely true. But the questions are always, well, when do I need to do that? Well, you have to remember this. When you are overwhelmed and or your team is overwhelmed, and you look at, can I reassign some of the duties? Is it things just got lopsided because Fred ended up with too many cases to handle and Sally doesn't have enough and we can just do some juggling there? Would that work? Or is it more than that? And if a reassignment of responsibilities isn't going to help, then it's time to hire. Or if the needs of your law firm have changed in a way that the people that you currently have on staff are fully busy but they don't have the skills that you need for the way your practice has developed, then it's going to be time to hire. And so what do? Well, the very first thing you want to do before you even think about, where am I going to go to look for somebody, is make a list. Make a list of what it is you need done that a new employee or an independent contractor would need to perform, and be crystal clear on that. And then you can look at, well, what skill level do I need for that? Are these things that only a lawyer can do, which means I need to hire a lawyer? Or are these things that don't require a law degree? And if so, what kind of skills or experience do these new duties require? Once you've figured that out, then you're ready to start looking. But you always want to keep in mind, hire for skills, not based on title. Now, like I said, if it's work that can only be done by a lawyer, then obviously you're hire a lawyer. But you have to make sure that he or she has the experience that you're looking at, or is teachable, and you can help them develop their knowledge in a certain area of practice. If the work you need done does not require a certain level of education, hire for talent. And what do I mean by that? Well, that means you have to really know the details of the job that you're hiring for. And you hire for people that have the skills for that position. I will tell you, 2 of the best employees I ever had were people who had never worked in a law firm before. They knew nothing about disability law. They knew nothing about how a law firm worked. But they were being hired for client-facing positions. They had great customer service experience. And I knew that's what I needed. I needed that personality, plus a personality where someone is coachable and teachable. They were not going to be hamstrung by, but I've always done it this way, if I asked them to do things a different way. Now, never having worked in a law firm kind of made that easier, because they had no idea how law firms did things. But that's something that you want to think about when you're making a hire. Is this somebody who is teachable, who will be able to come in, learn our way of doing things, and then certainly make suggestions if there's better ways to do it? That's not the issue. But are they amenable to at least starting out the way that you do things, and working within your system? Okay. Now, as the COO, the Chief Operations Officer of your law business, there's ways you lighten that load. Develop training manuals or videos. Oh, videos are even easier. Get help from your team. If you have paralegals that handle cases and there's certain things that they do, use Loom videos. I've used them. I've had people send them to me to teach me how to do things. They are easy. They are easy to record, and you can show people step by step how to do certain things. Let your team record how they do certain tasks, and then you can use that to train your new employees. It has to be updated over time, but that's okay, because these videos really are not hard to do. Create scripts where scripts would be helpful, certainly for answering the phone or for doing intakes. Create scripts for your team. Here's what you're going to say. And you just go line by line by line. They will learn it. They will follow it. And then they will add to it as time goes on, and they find things that are going to make it better or will help them get more information that they need. But create the scripts with them and then have them update it. You don't have to do it all. Your team is going to be really happy to help you if you ask, because they're invested in what they're doing. If you've hired the right people, they are invested. They enjoy what they do. They want you to be successful as much as you want yourself to be successful. So take advantage of that. Make sure that you do involve them and let them help you create the systems and develop the processes that will make your law firm run like a well-oiled machine. And I will tell you, I actually had clients tell me that in my law practice, and they would say, this is really a well-oiled machine. And believe me, much as I like to take all the credit for it, I couldn't, because I had a great team that really did work with me to make sure we were functioning at our best. So listen, running a solo or small law firm is challenging, and it's exciting, and it can be fun, but it is a lot of work. And you need to know that going in, but it's well worth it because you can create the business that you want. Now, if listening to me, you've got challenges in your business that you need to solve to be able to create the law firm that you want. Go to my website at boldwomenlawyers.com, schedule a clarity call. Let's talk about what's going on at your firm. We'll look at your challenges. We'll look at, what's going on there. We'll look at whether there are ways we could work together to solve the problems. And maybe we can, maybe we can't, maybe not. But even if we decide we're not going to work together right now, I can guarantee you're going to get at least one actionable tip that you can implement right away that will help your business. So don't hesitate. Go to boldwomenlawyers.com, schedule your clarity call. I would love to talk to you about your business and find out more about what's going on and how you can move forward and make sure you have the law business that you want. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day.